Today on Beach Channel Cares, we're talking to a family that's been personally impacted by the life-saving work that A Safe Haven for Newborns is doing not only here in Florida, but all the way across the nation. From Wisconsin, we welcome the Nebel family. Andrew, Brooke, Reagan, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
I have just a few questions. Oh, I see a wave. How did you first hear about Safe Haven for Newborns?
Through adoption. We had started the adoption process, and there's basically just a list of preferences of cases that you could see, and that's when we had first learned about the safe haven laws that each state has and what that would mean as potential adoptive parents. Kind of through that process.
Cool. And what was the process like? Was it a difficult process? Was it long?
In the world of adoption, we would be deemed as a quick kind of match, quick process. We were fortunate that basically our entire process from when we kind of had the first interview and filed the first application within the state of Wisconsin. But when we matched was just over 9 months. Mm-hmm. So when we got the phone call for Reagan, was just over 9 months. So we were very fortunate that that's kind of quick in the world of adoption.
Gosh, when you got that phone call, what was going through your mind?
I think I was in a state of shock or denial, I guess, until we walked through the hospital doors 30 hours after that phone call.
Oh my goodness.
But we were both working. I got the phone call at 11:30 in the morning. I called Andrew. He didn't pick up, so I left.
Started driving home.
Left work. And got to connect with him on my way home. And I just said, we're parents. We have a daughter. She's in Florida, and we have to go get her.
Aw. And take us through those 30 hours step by step from Wisconsin all the way to Florida.
The first thing we did, I'll come back a little bit. I work from home. At the time, Brooke worked in an office. So I just got off of a 3-hour meeting with my team that I work with. So I took a little coffee break. That's when Brooke called me. Well, by the time I got back to my phone, she was around the corner. And when we talked when she got home, the first thing I did before even leaving the computer, obviously, other than hugging Brooke and us connecting in that moment, and taking that moment to gather ourselves, the first thing we did was look for flights. How fast could we get out? We did the math on if we left basically within the hour, because we were kind of ready, but not. We weren't packed, but we had stuff gathered. We did the math of if we could drive. If we get there faster, that's kind of what the basis was. But the best option that we had, there were 2 flights. One was leaving our local airport at 9 o'clock at night and having an overnight layover in Charlotte. Mm-hmm. And the other option was leaving the same airport at 4 a.m. And basically going direct to the greater Tampa area. And that's ultimately what we went with. But then after that, we knew with our adoption process that we kind of wanted to keep it a surprise to as many people as possible. Mm-hmm. So the first person that we actually called was one of my brothers, and we asked him if he'd be willing to take us to the airport because we knew we wanted to fly down and drive back. Mm-hmm. So him and his fiance were the first people to know, the only people to know. They drove us to the airport. We flew down, and we had no sleep. Flew down to Tampa. We ended up and ultimately in the Fort Myers area. So we flew to Tampa, drove down to Fort Myers, and we were wired. We left with pictures of kind of a lot of our process, our journey. Being a safe haven surrender, she was not operating, but she was living under an alias. Just a temporary given name in the hospital for until we had the opportunity to formally name her.
Was she born when they called you, or was she on the way? What was going on with
She
Reagan while you guys were
was-
traveling?
She was 10 days old.
Okay.
She had been born on the 10th. We got a call on May 19th. So with her condition at birth, I don't know if they weren't sure what her prognosis or long term would be. So they gave it about a week to see how she responded to things.
And then that 7 days ended up being over a weekend. And she wasn't in an urgent, she was no longer in an urgent care status. They were confident that she was going to be healthy and she was recovered. So that's why that ended up being a Saturday. So that's why they ultimately gave it till Monday before they made the phone call.
That's wild. She's a Florida girl. How does she feel with all this cold?
She's hanging in there. She's not.
Because you guys are in Wisconsin, for the viewers that didn't know.
Yes.
I also want to dive into why adoption.
Yeah, I had always felt a pull towards fostering. It is something that I've just always wanted to do once I was, settled down in a marriage, a family, house. Wanted to be able to offer that support to children in need. I unfortunately had some health things kind of come up and happen that just ultimately made it not safe for myself or a future child to carry a biological pregnancy. So we just kind of had a lot of conversations on what we wanted in our future, what we wanted for our family, and had decided to explore adoption as a way to grow our family.
That's amazing. That is truly amazing. And you guys are great people for it. There's a special person that can adopt and they are blessed with these children. And I think it's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. So I give you guys major appreciation. As a couple, though, what was the conversation like when you finally chose to adopt?
Like Brooke mentioned, she always felt the call towards fostering and that kind of stuff. And we had some friends that work kind of with foster care in our area that we socialize with every once in a while. And they were talking about needing foster parents up here. And ultimately, I told Brooke, I said, there's no way I could foster because I get attached way too easily. So that's ultimately where we were said fostering is not going to be for us, and that's when we went all in on adoption. It was solely on the fact that I get way too attached way too easily. And ultimately, the purpose of fostering and ultimately adoption, obviously, is the goal of it is to reunite families. So the goal of foster care is for that child to end up back with biological family. That was one of those things of, being around, knowing certain cases in the system. It could be there. I mean, the child could be with us for 3 days, could be 3 weeks, could be 3 years, could be 10 years, and then to ultimately have that connection, and then they go ultimately, go back to whatever situation. Selfishly, I don't think that there's any way that I could get over that loss of connection. So that's kind of where we agreed upon. If we're going to do this, we're going all in, and adoption is the road for us.
And who was the first person to bring it up? Was there a conversation between the both of you?
I don't think adoption specifically was ever in our conversations pre-marriage.
Children definitely.
Children, yeah.
We definitely knew we both wanted a family. And then shortly after we got married, some of the Brooke had a flare up with some of the medical stuff, which ultimately prompted the conversations around.
Yeah.
Not necessarily while we dealt with that, but we kind of went both avenues of we weren't necessarily trying, but we weren't preventing. While the tests were being taken and she was going through a couple procedures and that kind of stuff, so we were kind of. We were definitely all in on the adoption process of if we ended up conceiving, we were just going to push the pause button on adoption and come back to it. So it was never one of those things of last resort. For us, it was definitely a conscious and desirable choice.
I feel like starting that conversation is never easy. I feel like that's the part that nobody talks about is where do you start with that conversation? When do you start that conversation? What to do if we don't necessarily agree at the moment? but it led into a growth in our marriage ultimately, of having those hard decisions, staying up at night talking about all the what ifs and what we want for each other, what we want for ourselves, what we want for our family. And yeah, I guess just through that is where we kind of landed where we did.
I mean, I can only imagine how scared either both of you were to bring it up because you like this person so much that you're like, wait, hold on.
Yes,
What if they don't
exactly.
agree? Yeah. But what was it like when you finally brought her home? Like, this is real. Like, you brought her home, that she's a new addition to your family. What was that like?
It was, I don't even know if there's words to describe it, honestly.
Well, we were successful with keeping it a surprise.
Yes.
Actually, we got down to her, and the first person again that I called was my brother that brought us to the airport. Just because we named her after him. His name is Alex. We named her Reagan Alex. So she was named after him. But we wanted to, let him know we got there and that kind of stuff, and for them to have that connection. But then we told him that we were going to call my mom and my dad next, because they had news of their own that they were sharing. They were ultimately pregnant at the time, and they had their son 16 days after she was born. So a lot of babies in the family in a short time.
She has a friend.
He does.
Family member and friend all wrapped in one.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. So we FaceTime my mom from the hospital. My mom and dad. I should say my mom and dad. My dad's not technically inclined, so he was in the background. But he was there. We FaceTimed them, and they were shocked, obviously completely in awe, but they were willing to support us. And they were ready to jump on the next plane. But then my dad said, no, we can't, because we have one that's being born here. Yeah. So ultimately they were gracious enough to puppy sit our dog. So they got our dog and took her back. But yeah, then after that it was phone calls all night.
Well, did they know that you guys were going through the process? Okay, so they were expecting it at a certain point, possibly.
Yep. They were expecting
so it wasn't like whoa.
Yeah, right. They were kind of anticipating more of a traditional adoption match with some sort of a match with someone who's still pregnant, and then having a couple months or a couple weeks or whatever of time to connect and prepare and plan. They weren't necessarily anticipating me FaceTime them from across the country. So, with her in my hands. So.
Oh my goodness! And did you meet her birth mother?
Nope. Safe Haven surrender is completely anonymous. She was surrendered at birth at the hospital. So we don't know anything. It's completely anonymous. All we know was what birth mom was willing to share. We know that there was one medical history thing for us to be aware of through a potential sibling. But other than that, all we know is that adoption was the plan. That the birth mom did not want her to end up in foster care. She wanted her to be adopted. So that is all that we have. We have nothing else beyond that. And
and I mean, look how lucky she is to be with a family that loves her.
We are the lucky ones for sure.
Absolutely.
She is the cutest. And how does it feel to be parents?
Yeah, you can't even describe the feeling for, like wondering if you ever would be to getting that phone call that you are in a matter of seconds. It feels amazing. It feels like it's what we're meant to be.
Yeah.
We feel a little more complete.
And did it feel like, I guess, a little different? Because normally with pregnancy, you're kind of prepping and but this was just a phone call and you went, but it was very sudden that
it
just got this position.
Yes. For what we were approved for with the home study process and things like that, we could have placement of up to 3 children under the age of 2. So that is a wide range of possibilities. So we did our best to prepare for anything and everything. yet hold off on some of the more permanent things.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had basic essentials and parent mindset for maybe 3 days worth of stuff to at least get our bearings.
We say essentials. We say essentials. We mean essentials. 'Cause when you go shopping, you can get gender neutral stuff all you want, but gender neutral, you look at it and be like, I would put that on a girl and not a boy. After you look at enough gender neutral colors, there's certain things that
Exactly. I think about that too.
Airplane, we were on the airplane Wi-Fi, like putting in a Target order for a car seat, a bassinet. We're like, oh my gosh, we can't travel with anything, so we didn't have anything.
And can you tell us about Reagan? Reagan is so funny, and she seems like a ball of energy.
She really is. She's full of spunk and sass and giggles and laughs. Yeah.
We love a little sassy girl.
Right. She has just the right amount of attitude for the moment.
Yeah. And how old is she?
She just turned 1 on Mother's Day. She loves her puppy. Right? You love your puppy. We're working on outdoors. She's kind of deciding if she likes grass or not.
She loves the snuggle. She's a snuggler. Yeah. She loves the cuddle. Loves the smile, loves to laugh. She's a very happy baby.
She is. She's just kind of happy doing anything. Yeah. She's really good, easygoing.
I can imagine that you guys started to introduce solids like in the past few months. What is her favorite food?
Yeah.
She loves chicken. Oh, chicken. All different flavors, all different types of chicken.
Noodles.
Oh, I'm with her. I love chicken and noodles.
Right? I'm not sure. The only thing she doesn't like is like vegetables. Other than that,
well, don't we all?
Right? Yeah.
We're getting that.
What are the biggest lessons you've learned being a parent?
I think the biggest lesson for me has been every situation is so personal. We do have other babies in the family and in our lives, and it's just, I think as a parent, you have similar experiences, I guess, which are fun, but there's just a lot of things that are very individualized, and you just kind of got to do what's best for your baby, your family, their timing. I feel like there's no right answer, no wrong answer, I guess, if that makes sense.
Brooke, you mentioned before the interview how being a parent impacted your faith. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah. We had both been actively growing in our faith, kind of leading up to our marriage, and as we decided how to grow our family. And I think the decision to adopt is just a huge surrender to faith. There's so many unknowns, so many things you can't control. So as we grew in our faith, leading up to that, it was just a full surrender. He has a plan. His plan became very clear eventually. And yeah, just kind of watching those God wings fall into place to lead us where we are today.
There were a lot of, through our adoption journey, we were with what's called an adoption consultant, which means that we were able to see some cases and present to some potential matches kind of throughout the country. Mm-hmm. And there were a lot of cases where we felt there was a connection there for us. Mm-hmm. But there was always one reason or another that once our consultant got back to us, that we were in the top 2 families. We were in the top 3 for consideration. There were so many of those, and it was not necessarily heart-wrenching, but it was difficult, but also it was one of those times for us to take a step back with each other and be like, this is happening for a reason, and truly a matter of if we agree that if we're going through this process, it's completely in God's hands. And at this point, we are not going to, no matter what we do, we're not changing his plan. So it was truly for the cliche, it was truly a leap of faith. And we just had to, anytime that we felt that we were trying to take control of it, we got that humble reminder that we are not in control.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I can imagine that's very hard, like to just step back and kind of let him take control, because we're people that just want to do, do,
Yes.
You
do.
want
Yeah.
to you want to know how everything's gonna go. You want to be able to control everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Huge learning curve.
And after everything you've been through, you've coined the phrase thriving in chaos.
Yes.
And then I wanted to ask if you could say one thing to your child's birth mother, what would it be?
I don't think there's enough thank yous in the world for her birth mother. I truly pray every day that she just has this peace in her heart, knowing the amount of joy that this little girl has brought to so many lives. Yeah, I would simply say thank you, because there's just no way to thank somebody for making that decision.
She definitely did the right thing, and I'm sure that what she did was not easy. But
Yeah, I can't
it's
even
better.
imagine.
Yeah. It's shocking that we're having so many cases of, well, not so many, but we used to have cases of babies being left on the side of the road. So the fact that she took the steps and the necessary steps to give her to a loving family is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Andrew, what would you like to say to her?
Yeah, I mean, people ask that kind of all the time, and I don't know. Sorry, as I get emotional thinking about this every time. This gets me every time. I don't know if I could come up with words. As much as I would, I'm a gentle soul by nature, so I don't know if there would be enough time in the world for the size or the hug that I would like to give to that person.
Yeah.
I can't even come up with words right now, much less in the moment. If I was face to face, I don't know if I could come up with words.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough one, because what do you tell the person that has literally given you everything?
Everything. And that's the thing too, of like, and that kind of parenting lessons of like, you hear all the time, people say that, you do everything for your kids, and like, you believe it, you do, but it hits another level when you're in it, like truly it. We talk about it kind of all the time when we kind of have our weekly touch base, other than, good morning, did you get fed, did you get changed, good night, conversations. When we have our conversation every week, it's a matter of everything that we're doing ultimately is for her. So no matter what we do or how we do it, she's benefiting in some way. So when she's at the center of every decision that we make, it truly is your whole world. For somebody to give that to us, it's just a level of gratitude that's really, yeah.
So for anyone listening who's considering adoption, what would you say to encourage them?
I would do my best to just say have faith, and that there's somebody out there absolutely who would love and support if it's something that they're considering. I would tell them that they're not alone. There's a lot of resources that we've learned of on the other side, but the support that a birth mom gets through adoption is, I just want her to know that she's not alone, that there's caring families. Not only that, there is, the agencies are extremely supportive. As we've met adoption families that have an open adoption, it's beautiful to see the families that grow within the birth parent and the adoptive parent.
Yeah.
There are some adoptive families there's adoption families that we've connected with, who have, matched with all different types of cases, whether somebody was a safe haven surrender, and then they also have another child that's an open adoption. The connection stories that we hear of, some of them are really remarkable stories. And to know that there are families like the consultant that we work with, we've gotten very close with their family as well, because conveniently she lives in Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
They go every year on a trip to a beach somewhere with the biological family of one of her sons, and it's just it feels like a giant extended family reunion. She said it's so cool because everybody that the one of her sons has biological siblings that were adopted through other families, and they all come together too. They said it's one of the most remarkable experiences that they are very fortunate to experience.
Wow.
And that includes the birth mother. The birth mother goes on this as well. So yeah, if you're a birth mother considering adoption, don't be afraid to reach out to an agency in your area. They'll have so many resources, so many ways to help guide you through that process, through the making the decision.
Yeah.
They will not, the right agency and the right person connection will not force you into anything that you're not comfortable doing. And if you're a family that's considering going through the adoption process, I would say the exact same thing. Reach out to some agencies in your area. They will be able to connect you with some families that they've worked with who have adopted. And I don't know if we've met a family that adopted that's not willing to help out another family considering adoption. We've met with a handful of families that were considered adoption that are now going through the process as well. And we still connect with a couple of them. It's another village that you can lean on to support yourself, your expansion of your family, and answer any questions and give any sort of advice.
I have also another question about the process. For those families that are wanting to adopt, how would you describe their fears of maybe not being able to connect with the child? How do you soothe their worries?
The one thing that from our experience, at least in Wisconsin, we had to go through about 30 hours of training in order to be able to finally see cases to be certified to adopt. So there's a lot of training out there. There's a lot of a lot of information on adoption that's out there. There's a lot of reading, but there's also other resources that adoption agencies have. And there's support groups, there's Facebook groups, there's probably local like nonprofits in areas that offer that different levels of support. I know that there's a couple different anonymous adoption groups on Facebook and social media that you could go on and you know, just do some ask questions, and there's so many people that are willing to help through that. We've made connections with couples from across the country based solely on social media, and it's one of those things of it's a real fear that you're going to have. Because ultimately, we had some of those fears.
Yeah, I feel like
and it's
there's no way not to.
The process really challenges you to the core of who you are as a person, as a human being. But it's one of those of, again, lean into your faith, and it is truly, arguably, one of the most rewarding experiences that I've ever had. And it's worth that. It's worth that leap, worth that risk.
And I feel a year out, the first year, I mean, there's so many things that there's, you know, you're so proud of your adoption story that you share it all the time. But as time goes on, a year out, it doesn't even feel like an adoption, I guess, if that makes sense. We often have friends and family who forget she's adopted. It's just so easy. Like it all just kind of falls into place. So the fears are real and valid. And you just kind of work through it, and it just becomes life.
I appreciate you guys taking the time to share your story. A Safe Haven for Newborns is helping families across the nation, pretty much, that have babies that they just need loving homes. And you guys are definitely one of those loving homes, and we appreciate it. Is there anything that that you guys wanted to mention or add on that we didn't mention in the interview?
I don't know I mean, we're comfortable sharing this. I mean, we already said that she was born in Fort Myers, so there's that. And she was surrendered in Fort Myers. The name that they gave her at the hospital, the alias, she was like one of 4 safe haven surrenders in the same unit at the same time.
Oh, wow.
So John Doe, Jane Doe, your general aliases were kind of used up. So the name that they gave her for the moment was Pear Jellyfish. So she was Pear Jellyfish, and she was in the Starfish unit. So when we walked in, we tried to give them this information. They looked at us like we had 6 eyes, 4 noses, like you guys are in the wrong place. But one godwink that we came back to that just stands out with that name. A couple things we got. So our consultant's husband is a tattoo artist. So he actually we came up with a pair of jellyfish design that Brooke and I each have tattooed on us.
Oh my goodness. That is the cutest.
So it's kind of one of those things. But the reason why we cling on to that is when we went on our honeymoon, we went on a cruise after we got married. And we did a wine and canvas sipping paint type thing. I was definitely there for the art portion, not the alcohol portion. But we painted jellyfish, and that was back in 2024.
And that was right when we had started our conversations around adoption, was kind of the honeymoon. So that was cool.
So in February of 2024, when we went on our honeymoon, we painted jellyfish. And then it came full circle with the alias that our daughter had when we adopted her was jellyfish. So it's just we still have them displayed in our living room, and I don't think they'll ever leave. But now it's a nickname that's definitely stuck. She's not princess, she's not anything like that. She's our little jellyfish.
Pear jellyfish.
Yeah.
It's definitely a God-given gift with all the signs that pointed to it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So we're hoping to take that one step further, and then our goal ultimately is to continue to give back to the adoption realm. We would want to start doing some fundraising and efforts and like nonprofit type work. Hopefully we're going to be looking at trying to start like the Pear Jellyfish Foundation is what we want to call it.
Oh wow, that would be
fits.
Amazing.
So to give back to adoption families to help offset the cost of adoption. So that's kind of our long-term goal once we settle down.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, thank you, Brooke and Andrew and Reagan, for joining me.
Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Double wave.
Bye-bye. Thank you for watching Beach Channel Cares. And if you want to learn more, go to asafehavenfornewborns.com. I'll see you next time.